Yesterday on the program, CBS Sports' Shehan Jeyarajah joined the show with you and Dave and discussed where he thinks BYU football stands among teams in the Big 12.
Have them in the top three potentially. I went on a radio interview last week and I did pick them at least right now to win the Big 12, but Arizona State's going to be there, Texas Tech is going to be there, Baylor's going to be there. There's some other teams that could get into that conversation, but they absolutely are part of that top group. Again, look, we have another month before we have to cast our ballot for preseason Big 12 poll, but BYU will be one of my contenders to be my #1 team in the conference.
I like that.
Yes, I definitely like hearing that. And look, that's not crazy. That is not like just sort of catering to the BYU fans because he was on this show. That's a legit situation that's going to play out over the next couple of weeks until we get the actual preseason poll.
He feels like they're the most underrated team in college football, not just in the Big 12, in the entire country. Speaking of BYU, interesting stuff. But what will BYU show up as in the Big 12 preseason
Okay,
poll?
so you and I have actually done our own preseason polls. This is scientific. We put in the formulas, the algorithms in order to come up with this morning. Yes. Should we look at yours first?
Please, let's do it. The Spencer algorithm at play. Whatever the heck that means. Listen, I'm going to give the two teams that were in the Big 12 championship their flowers. Arizona State, popular pick to win the Big 12 because of what they do and who they bring back. Even though they lose Cam Scadaboo, you bring back your quarterback, one of the best receivers in the entire conference, and a winning culture. Iowa State, I feel like, is not going to show up as #2 for most pollsters, but I think that they are an underrated team in the Big 12 as well. They bring back their quarterback in Rocco Becht, and they're a tough-minded group. So they get their flowers at 1 and 2. Baylor at #3. They are an interesting group. They've revamped the coaching staff. They figured some things out late last year, Jason. And then BYU at #4. I believe that BYU is in that #1 tier, and by tiers I mean 4, 4, 4, and 4. Okay, so they're tier 1 for me. But at the bottom of that, and I hope BYU shows up there because it will motivate them. It will motivate them. BYU could be as high as #2 or #3. I put him at #4, frankly, because I want them to see if they see a screenshot of this and like, we're going to win the Big 12. After the Cougars, Texas Tech has spent a ton of money to revamp their roster.
Yes, they have.
They could be scary. Kansas State at 6, TCU 7, Utah 8, and then you see the back 9. The Jayhawks of Kansas are always a wild card for me. No Travis Hunter, no Shedeur Sanders for Colorado. They're at 10, and then the remainder of the group, UCF and Houston, round out the bottom of that. I think BYU would be in a comfortable position at #4, enough to motivate them and just to irk them enough to go out and try and prove something significant. Maybe I have them too low, but again, this is my algorithm.
Okay.
This is what I want. How different is your preseason poll compared to mine?
It's different. It's more different than I expected it to be. I have Arizona State #1. And again, with what they did and losing Scadaboo, that's a big deal. I think they're going to feel that more than they think they're going to feel it.
Sure.
But they've just got so much with Levitt coming back.
Sam Levitt is a really solid quarterback.
Look, and because of what they did last year, I'm willing to give them the #1 spot. I think BYU is #2 in this conference. And look, maybe it's a homer pick, but I don't think I'm that far off to put them 2nd overall.
All right.
I understand Iowa State in some people's minds may be #2. But for me, I had Iowa. Look, Rocco Becht is fantastic. He's back. I agree with you. It's a tough-minded team. It's hard to win in Ames.
BYU has to play in Ames.
But I took into account, but they lost their 2 main receivers. They lost some talent.
Fair.
But I go with them at #3. I thought about putting Texas Tech ahead of Iowa State simply because of the amount of money that they have put into NIL. But I remember I hearkened back to what A-Rod said 2 years ago, or now it's almost 3. I guess it's still 2 years ago, where we probably went too far into the transfer portal. And
too many new pieces.
There were too many new pieces, and I wonder if that may, even though they're high-level pieces for Texas Tech, I wonder if it's going to take them a little more time than they expect. So that's why I have them 4th.
Barrett Morton's good quarterback.
Absolutely, 100%. Kansas State I have 5th. Baylor 6th. I am higher on Kansas than a lot of people. I understand they lost Devin Neal, so you don't have your running back.
Jalen Daniels is back for a 12th year.
Yeah, he's back. I have a lot of confidence in Lance Leipold as a head coach and on the offensive side of the ball.
Yep.
So I'm higher on Kansas than others. So I have Kansas 7th, Utah coming in at number 8, TCU 9th, and then honestly, Colorado 10th, and you and I had Colorado.
Exact same spot.
Yeah, exact same spot. Same spot for Oklahoma State at 11th. This is where we kind of differ a little bit. I've got Houston a little higher. I think they sort of tapped into something.
You like Willie Fritz. You like Coach Fritz in year 2.
Maybe it was just their win over Utah that impressed me. So I'm giving.
You're rewarding them.
Rewarding them.
You beat Utah. You're number 12.
No, I liked what they were doing towards the end of the year, and if it just so happened that they beat Utah towards the end of the season, so be it.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of the last 4 I think are somewhat interchangeable. But yeah, ultimately I had UCF last. So there are differences, but there are themes that are similar between ours.
Only 2 major differences I saw. I think Baylor is really good.
Yeah, you're higher on Baylor than I am, and I'm higher on Kansas.
I have Baylor
than you
at number 3. You have Baylor at number 6. Kansas, you and I are similar. You're at 7. I'm at 9. Okay, so round middle of the pack, and Houston is the other big difference.
Right.
I think I had Houston 15, and you got Houston up at 12, but pretty similar. I cannot wait for that preseason poll to be released. It is weirdly one of the polls that I look forward to the most. Maybe it's because BYU wasn't in a conference for so long in football. So to have that context going into the season, really fun. And then to see how wildly wrong everybody in the media is, especially last year with Arizona State being picked dead last and winning it. Has that ever happened, by the way, where a team is picked 16th and they win the conference? That had to be the first time ever, right?
Yeah, if it's happened before, I don't remember it.
That is insane.